Hey everybody, what's up? This is your girl, Miss Analytical, coming to you straight out of NYC on this Monday afternoon. I have like two things that I want to talk about. The first one is going to be about Janet Jackson being blackballed by Les Moonves. Basically, this didn't happen just because the general public basically turned their backs on Janet Jackson. It was Les Moonves, the man that has been accused of sexual misconduct, and he had admitted to a couple of those incidences. Yeah, that man. He had a problem with the black nipple being visible on MTV stages and on the Super Bowl stage, but his whole dirty secrets was wrapped up the whole time. So let's talk about it, shall we? Hello, everybody. I'm back with another one. So I'm about to discuss this whole situation with Janet Jackson being blackballed because of her Super Bowl performance back in 2004. So, a lot of people still have their issues with Janet Jackson doing what they did. But to be honest with you, it really wasn't the general masses that collectively got together and say, hey, let's blackball Janet Jackson. No, it was this cat, Les Moonves. So I want to talk about an article that GQ magazine wrote, and it states that the CEO of CBS tried to destroy Janet Jackson's career after her Super Bowl show. It says a new report alleges that Les Moonves actively targeted Janet Jackson in the wake of the infamous 2004 Super Bowl. Janet Jackson is back on the scene after what feels like an unbearably cruel absence. After her 2004 Super Bowl performance with Justin Timberlake, culminating in the now infamous wardrobe malfunction, Janet's career seemed to suddenly stall while Timberlake's climbed higher and higher. Some fans and critics claimed that Jackson was being held accountable while Timberlake wasn't, and a new report suggests that they were right. In August, Les Moonves, the CEO of CBS, was implicated in his own #MeToo scandal, facing allegations of sexual misconduct, according to Ronan Farrow, writing for The New Yorker. Since then, the network and Moonves have been reportedly in quiet negotiations about his exit. But with the heightened security in the wake of the allegations, still more dramatic stories about Moonves' tenure are surfacing. A shocking new report from the Huffington Post alleges that after Jackson's Super Bowl performance, Moonves became obsessed with ruining her career. According to Yashar Ali, Moonves banned Jackson and Timberlake from the 2004 Grammy broadcast airing on CBS the week after the Super Bowl, but Timberlake was allowed to perform after he tearfully apologized for the incident, according to conversations Moonves had with my sources. The CBS chief executive, according to sources who spoke to me, was furious that Jackson didn't make a similarly contrite apology to him. The fallout from the incident inflicted significant damage on Jackson's career, which until that point had produced 10 number one hits and still reverberates to this day. Both critics and allies of Moonves who spoke to Huffington Post corroborate that the CEO was fixated on punishing Jackson. Even after banning her and Timberlake from the Grammys, Moonves then reportedly ordered VH1 and MTV, both owned by Viacom, the then parent company of CBS, and all Viacom-owned stations to stop playing Jackson's videos and music, a move that would have had devastating impact on the album she released shortly after the Super Bowl. While this would have seemed like a grandiose conspiracy only a year ago, today, with Harvey Weinstein facing accusations of destroying the careers of actresses who resisted his advances, it sounds depressingly plausible. But if the allegations against Moonves are true, there's at least a sense of justice. Jackson, after all, still has a career and a future. The same can be said for Moonves. And to all those people that are wondering why, that's because Moonves, and I just found out literally about a minute or two ago, doing my research, is that Les Moonves has departed as chief of CBS after harassment allegations and a corporate battle. So my man has chucked up the deuces. Now, I'm going to say this. I'm happy about that, but I want to see more happen. Now I'm going to go back and discuss the whole thing about why Janet Jackson was taken down and why he had an obsession with her. If you remember the 2004 Super Bowl, the person who performed wasn't just Janet Jackson, it was also Beyonce. Beyonce sung the national anthem, and at that time, Beyonce was going to be the biggest thing that was going to happen in R&B in many years since, believe it or not, Whitney Houston. And they had wanted her to really take Whitney Houston's place. Now, if you are familiar with how conglomerates work, Beyonce is still to this day signed by Columbia. And Columbia was all connected with the whole Viacom situation through Sony because of Columbia CBS Records. Now, at that time, Justin Timberlake wasn't connected to Sony. He was under job through BMG. But quietly, we didn't know about this. They were merging Sony and BMG together, and that merger would happen around about the second half of 2004. So that was the reason why he sort of saved Justin Timberlake, because he knew that the profits from their album sales were going to come through Sony, which was connected to Viacom, because Sony was going to have a 50.1% stake in the merger, whereas BMG was going to have 49. Janet Jackson, on the other hand, she was still signed to Virgin, and Virgin was completely separate. They were part of EMI, and EMI is not as big as it was before, but she was under Richard Branson. So she didn't have any connection to Viacom except for having her videos played on MTV and BET. That was it. But there was more money to be made from Viacom's standpoint from Beyonce and in the future Justin Timberlake. So he didn't need Janet Jackson, and not just him, but all the other people working collectively at Viacom. They saw Janet as a threat against Beyonce. Believe it or not, this is really what happened. And before Janet's Boosie, the nipple was visible, she was the most popular female R&B act on the planet. She was more popular than, believe it or not, Mariah Carey and Whitney Houston. But when that nipple was visible to the world, and I'm going to say it, it helped Beyonce's career skyrocket. She fell that day, Beyonce rose up. And that was all planned. I've always said that it was sabotage. I never believed Janet was in on it. I personally believe, and this is my thing, I personally believe that somebody, when she put that suit on, I believe that somebody put a solution on top of, inside of the black leather bustier that caused the lace of the broth, because it was red, to dissolve. Because in the whole performance, you weren't supposed to see a nipple. You were supposed to see the lace of her bra. So it was supposed to be like a provocative, sort of like risque, but still family friendly at the same time, like PG-13. But she was supposed to act coy about it and be like, oh, yeah, whatever. But when she looked up, she had to play it off like, oh shit, like, the laces, but she couldn't like cry and run on stage. But I always believed that it was sabotage and that she was set up for the fall. And I don't care what anybody say. I do believe that Justin Timberlake knew some of it, or maybe he didn't. But I never thought that Justin was totally innocent. But what I hated about Justin Timberlake is that he threw her under the bus instead of saying, me and Janet, we both didn't know what was going on. But he probably was told, you can have a bigger career if you distance yourself from her. And I believe he was told that by Les Moonves. And he probably was like, Janet, bye. And this is a guy that was taken into Michael Jackson's, entourage. And right after that, Jackson said, I don't want to have nothing to do with you, which is why I was upset that he sung on the Escape album and was singing Love Never Felt So Good on Michael Jackson's Escape album. And if you notice, like, once he was connected to that legacy of Michael Jackson's sales since his passing hasn't been very good, And I just want to say I like that plus Moonves is out of CBS, but I have to be fair and say I need more justice from this. And I'm going to talk about this more in the next video. So I just want to say thank you guys for really listening to the audio. Thank you to my subscribers, my old ones and my new ones. And I just want to say I have a lot of things up to come on my channel. And to people that have always supported me and commented, even if you didn't agree with my comment, my videos, I just want to say thank you. And to everyone out there, take care. I'll be back soon. Later.